Hello and welcome again. In today's video, I am going to tell you about one important proposal, that is one nation, one election. Okay, so आज इस पूरे वीडियो में the topic of the discussion is also one nation, one election, and I'm going to tell you what are the advantages and disadvantages, what will be the pros and the cons associated with this particular scheme. Okay. Now, recently, why it has come in news, you need to understand why we are talking about this topic. Recently, Aam Aadmi Party, they have submitted a report to the Law Commission of India, where they have criticized this particular proposal of BJP, this particular proposal of Mr. Narendra Modi of one nation, one election, calling it extremely unconstitutional. Yes, BJP leaders have called this proposal as unconstitutional, and they also said that it is an attempt or it is a threat to the democracy of India, right? Now, the leaders of Aam Aadmi Party, they also suggested that this particular scheme of one nation, one election, it is going to legitimize Operation Lotus of NDA government. And also it will legalize the sale and purchase of MLAs, which usually happens during the state assembly elections in India. So ये सारी चीजों को हम डिटेल में समझते हैं. Let us start with the understanding of the topic. What do you actually mean by one nation, one election? See, the idea was first proposed by Mr. Narendra Modi, our Prime Minister, in year 2016. I should not say that it only started in 2016. Well, the roots of this particular scheme goes back around 1983, I should say. Yes, but recent push was given by our Prime Minister in 2016. So what does it suggest? What do you mean by one nation, one election? It envisages a system where elections to all the states, we have 28 states in India, the elections to all the states, including 2 union territories. Now, I know you must be aware that there are 2 union territories in India which have their own legislature. One is Delhi, that is National Capital Territory of Delhi, and the second one is Puducherry. Okay. The idea is that elections to all the state assemblies, including the Legislative Assembly of Puducherry and Delhi, they will synchronize with the elections of Lok Sabha. आप समझ रहे हैं, लोकसभा के इलेक्शंस एंड सारे स्टेट असेंबली के इलेक्शंस इंक्लूडिंग पुडुचेरी एंड दिल्ली, दे शुड बी हेल्ड टुगेदर और दे शुड बी कंडक्टेड टुगेदर. सो दैट इज द बेसिक आइडिया ऑफ वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन. सिंस वी हैव वन कंट्री where we have 28 states in our country, so elections for all the 28 states, election for Puducherry and Delhi, they must synchronize with the election of Lok Sabha, which we refer to as a general election in a country. Okay, so ये basic idea है इस पूरे scheme का. Now अभी हम समझते हैं कि what is the current scenario. Now, as I've told you, we have 28 states which have the different state assembly, 28 state assemblies, along with the legislatures of Puducherry and Delhi. So what is the current scenario? Currently, the elections for Lok Sabha and all these state assemblies are held separately. अभी क्या होता है, लोकसभा के इलेक्शंस अलग होते हैं और स्टेट असेंबलीज के इलेक्शंस अलग होते हैं. दे डू नॉट सिंक्रनाइज. देखिए, जो लास्ट लोकसभा इलेक्शंस हुए थे, इलेक्शंस ऑफ 2019, राइट, दे वर द 17th लोकसभा इलेक्शंस. Now, these 17th Lok Sabha elections, they were held in 2019, and the next general election or the next Lok Sabha election is scheduled to be held in 2024. We know that the term of Lok Sabha is for 5 years. Our government is elected for the term of 5 years. And same goes for the state assembly elections as well. But the state assembly, different state assemblies in India, they do not have simultaneous elections. Let me give you an example. If I say the elections for the State Assembly of Madhya Pradesh are scheduled to be held in the month of November 2023, right? So this year, Madhya Pradesh is going to have its State Assembly election. But that is not true for Maharashtra. Maharashtra State Assembly is going to have the next elections by October 2024, right? So this is the meaning of how these elections in the different state assemblies are not synchronized. So this is our current system. Every state assembly also has a term of 5 years like Lok Sabha. Next Lok Sabha elections, that is for 18th Lok Sabha, we are going to have elections in 2024. But MP is going to face state assembly elections in this year only, November 2023. So right now we do not have all the state assembly elections and Lok Sabha elections synchronized. They are conducted at different levels. They are conducted in different years, I should say, right? Now, the term of the Legislative Assembly and Lok Sabha are not synchronous with each other. This is the system which is in practice right now. ये अभी की situation है. So what does this one nation, one election will involve? How it is going to synchronize the elections of Lok Sabha and for different state assemblies, including the legislatures of Puducherry and National Capital Territory of Delhi. So this involves the restructuring of the Indian election cycle in a manner that elections to the states and the center will synchronize. So what it actually involves? Let me give you an example. If I am a voter and I have to vote for the elected members of Lok Sabha, right? You know this concept that Lok Sabha has two categories of members. It has elected members and then there are nominated members, okay? So voter has to vote for the elected members of Lok Sabha as well as for their own state assemblies on the same day. The voters will cast their vote for electing the members of Lok Sabha and their respective state assemblies on the same day. And this is the meaning of simultaneous poll, right? This is the meaning of simultaneous polls. So this is the basic idea of one nation, one election. So what happened? See, the Law Commission of India submitted a draft report to the government in the month of August 2018, wherein they supported the concept of one nation, one election. I'll tell you why. Because one nation, one election was nothing new for our country. This system was actually practiced before 1967. I'm going to tell you the details. I'm going to tell you the background of this concept as well. But what happened in 2018, Law Commission of India, they actually submitted a report endorsing this particular scheme. And after that only, the idea was given that the elections that were scheduled to be held in 2019, they should actually involve the concept of one nation, one election. How it's going to be done, that also I'll tell you. It also recommended, the Law Commission of India also recommended that this change, bringing a change of one nation, one election in the elections of the center and the state, it involves some amendments in the constitution and certain electoral laws also have to be changed. Okay, so this was the idea given by the Law Commission of India. Now, as I told you that the concept of one nation, one election is nothing new for our country. We actually practiced this system until 1967. That means all the states and the center, they had elections synchronous. They have the election synchronized until 1967. So what happened after 1967? Certain state assemblies, okay, they were dissolved. Now, that's entirely a different concept that there are various reasons, n number of reasons, on the basis of which the Lok Sabha or the state assemblies, legislative assemblies, they can be dissolved. Okay, there are certain reasons. So same thing happened. Certain state assemblies, they got dissolved in 1968 and then in 1969, along with Lok Sabha, which also got dissolved in 1970. So 1967 तक सेंटर और सारे स्टेट्स के असेंबली के इलेक्शंस जो एक साथ होते थे, एक ही साल में होते थे, वो अलग हो गए. क्यों? क्योंकि कुछ स्टेट असेंबलीज जो थी वो 1968 में डिसॉल्व हो गई ड्यू टू सर्टेन रीजंस. कुछ स्टेट असेंबलीज 1969 में डिसॉल्व हो गई एंड लोकसभा भी डिसॉल्व हो गया था 1970 में. उसके बाद से दिस एंटायर पैटर्न was disturbed. जो अभी तक 1967 तक स्टेट और सेंटर के एक साथ इलेक्शंस होते थे, एक ही साल में इलेक्शंस होते थे, वो पैटर्न बिल्कुल डिस्टर्ब हो गया. Okay, so idea of reverting to the simultaneous poll was again mooted in the annual report of the Law Commission of India that was in 1983. So I told you that idea was again given by the Law Commission of India in 1983 that we should go back to the concept of simultaneous poll or one nation, one election. Okay, so Law Commission also submitted a report again in 1999, but the recent push, as I've told you, it was only given before 2019 elections. Okay, so that was in 2016, Mr. Narendra Modi, he again mooted the idea that we should practice one nation, one election in our country. I'll tell you why BJP is so much, or I should say NDA government is so much emphasizing on this particular proposal. I'll tell you why. But how will it work actually? How they are going to synchronize the elections of different states in India along with the central elections. How this idea is going to work. So idea was to conduct the elections in the phased manner. See, what they said that in 2019 elections, along with the elections of Lok Sabha, 12 state assemblies, they should also undergo election. Now they selected certain states जिनके इलेक्शंस ऑलरेडी शेड्यूल्ड थे इन द लेट 2018 और इन अर्ली 2019. So 12 states in India, they were already due to have scheduled to have their elections. Okay, so idea was, along with the elections of the Lok Sabha, the elections for these 12 state assemblies should be conducted. Okay, so they will be synchronized, and the remaining legislative assemblies, along with the legislative assembly of Puducherry, it should be synchronized in 21. बाकी के जो 12 के अलावा जो बाकी के states थे, they should synchronized around 2021. ठीक है? And then again, when the next Lok Sabha elections will be held, that is in 2024, we are going to have 18th Lok Sabha elections. All these states, they will be having synchronous elections or synchronized elections. ठीक है? तो आइडिया क्या था कि पहले लोकसभा के साथ 12 स्टेट्स को हम सिंक्रोनाइज कर देते हैं, और जो रिमेनिंग के स्टेट्स और पुडुचेरी जो रह जाएगा उसको हम 2021 में उनके इलेक्शंस करवा देंगे, एंड देन all together they are going to have next term elections, that is in 2024. So this was the proposal, this was the idea which was given. Now, as I tell you, what will be the advantage if our country will have this system of one nation, one election? What are going to be the advantages? Simultaneous polls will reduce the enormous cost which is involved in election. You already know that a lot of money is spent on conducting election. There are so many election campaigns, so many political rallies, so many workshops. Everything needs money, right? So a lot of money is, I should say, spent in every state all across the country for conducting several their own respective state assembly elections, right? System will help in ruling parties focus on governance instead of being constantly in the election mode. इमेजिन यदि सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट का और स्टेट असेंबली के इलेक्शंस एक ही साल में हो जाते हैं, सो फॉर रेस्ट ऑफ द 5 years दे डोंट हैव टू बॉदर, अलग अलग स्टेट्स को बॉदर नहीं करना पड़ेगा ऑन डिफरेंट इश्यूज. दे आर गोइंग टू on the electoral issues, they are going to focus on the national issues and on the regional issues. The idea is कि इलेक्टोरल प्रोसेस को ही फोकस ना करके या इलेक्शन को ही फोकस ना करके द गवर्नमेंट दे वुड फोकस ऑन द प्रॉपर गवर्नेंस, they will focus on the regional issues and the central government could focus on the national issues. ये एक पर्टिकुलर आइडिया थी कि एक तो पैसे की बचत होगी और प्लस प्रॉपर गवर्नेंस हो पाएगा. देश में जो असली मुद्दे हैं जिनको फोकस की जरूरत है उन पर काम हो पाएगा, ना कि सिर्फ इलेक्शन के बारे में वो सोचते रहे. Simultaneous polls will boost the voter turnout according to the law commission. This is also a major issue in our country, right? That जो जितना परसेंट का वोटर जो एक्चुअली इलेक्टोरल रोल्स में जिनके नाम आते हैं एंड द एक्चुअल वोटर टर्नआउट, जितने लोग पोलिंग बूथ पे पहुंचते हैं, देयर इज अ बिग डिफरेंस इन दैट. लॉट मेनी पीपल दे जस्ट स्किप, दे डू नॉट अवेल द राइट टू वोट. सो voting on the same day for the members of the Lok Sabha and for the members of their own state assemblies, that is for the MLAs, the voter turnout will be more people will be involved, they will take interest in voting process. So these are the advantages of this particular scheme. But now what are the disadvantages? And as I told you recently, Aam Aadmi Party, they have also criticized this particular scheme. So what are the disadvantages? National and state issues are different. See, and holding simultaneous election is likely to affect the judgment of voters. As we all know that in 28 states of India, we have different type of ideologies. There are different political parties and the people prefer different politicians. They are different ideologies, right? It is not at all necessary that one party which is in the center, okay, it coordinates with the party which are in different states. Their ideologies are different, right? The people may like to have one party in the center as the central government, but they may have different preference for their regional political parties. This is quite a possibility. For example, if I give you an example of Tamil Nadu, right? Let me talk about Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu के लोगों के political preferences अलग होंगे. They have preferences towards different politicians over there, but they may be happy with the BJP sitting in the center or with the Congress sitting in the center. So this is the difference. It will actually confuse the voter. जो लोग इस scheme को oppose कर रहे हैं, उनका ये कहना है कि this particular scheme is actually going to confuse voters, whether they should vote for the same party in the center and the state, or they should have different preferences, one party ruling in the center and then other party having ruling in the state assemblies, right? This is going to create a confusion. Since elections will be held once in 5 years, it will reduce government's accountability to the people. Repeated elections keep legislators on their toes and increase accountability. That's very true. That's important, right? देखिए, कुछ लोगों का ये मानना है जैसे कि अगर 5 साल में elections होंगे, it's conducted in 1 year. Let me give you an example. जैसे 2024 में center और state के elections, if they are done, right? Then for the next 5 years, the political parties or the elected leaders are not going to focus on people's issues, are not going to focus on problems. Why? बिकॉज अब वो क्या सोचेंगे, जब नेक्स्ट इलेक्शंस आने वाले होंगे उसके पहले हम देख लेंगे, राइट? सो आइडिया है कि अलग अलग समय में जब इन पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज के इलेक्शंस होते हैं, सो दे आर ऑन टोज, दे आर अलर्ट एवरी टाइम, दे हैव टू बी रिस्पॉन्सिबल टू द पीपल, दे हैव टू एड्रेस टू द ग्रीवेंसेस ऑफ द पीपल. सो एवरी टाइम दे आर गोइंग टू वर्क, एवरी ईयर they are going to perform, they are going to give output. That's the major issue of the critics, right? Then when the election in a state is postponed until synchronized phase, the president's rule will have to be imposed in the interim period. Yes, as I've told you, मैंने जो बताया कि वन नेशन वन इलेक्शन को प्रपोज कैसे करा जाएगा, उसके लिए उन्होंने जो स्कीम सामने आपको बताई है कि पहले सेंटर के साथ 12 राज्यों का इलेक्शन करवा दिया जाए, एंड फॉर रेस्ट ऑफ द स्टेट्स, फॉर द रिमेनिंग स्टेट असेंबलीज अलॉन्ग विथ पुडुचेरी, वो 2021 में सिंक्रोनाइज किया जाता, या आगे जब भी इंप्लीमेंट होगा तो गैप के बाद इंप्लीमेंट किया जाएगा. Now, ऐसी स्कीम को एक्चुअली इंप्लीमेंट करने के लिए इट फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल नीड्स द पॉलिटिकल कॉन्सेंसस. एवरी पॉलिटिकल पार्टी हैज टू बी अग्रीड टू दिस कंसेप्ट, राइट? It requires amendment in the existing constitutions, it requires changes in the existing electoral laws, and also sometimes it may require the extension for about 6 months to 7 months for certain state assemblies, है ना? तो यहाँ पे क्या होगा कि अब जो extension period होगा तो गवर्नमेंट का टर्म तो खत्म हो गया, एंड फॉर द रिमेनिंग 6 months until the fresh elections are held, the president's rule may be imposed in that particular state. Now, imposing a president rule raise a question on the concept of democracy in our countries. For many state assemblies, or I should say the political parties, do not approve with this idea of the implementation of the president's rule. Okay, so these are the certain drawbacks which are present along with the scheme. Okay, so this was in short the explanation for one nation, one election. I'll bring more such videos, and this will help in your preparation for CLAT 24 and for all other law entrance exams. Thank you so much. If you have any query, just mention in the comment box, and just support our channel, keep motivating us. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.